Half-Past Dead Paranormal. Here we go. All right, now it's loading. I don't know what the heck happened. Half-Past Dead Paranormal.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Who's here now?
It does all kinds of weird, funky, freaky things for me now. Isn't that nice? 6 results. Paranormal. Half-Past Dead Paranormal. And I'm supposed to... Fucky.
You're still muted. Nothing's playing in your show, just to let you know.
Who's muted?
Blog Talk? Blog Talk's not playing.
It's not?
No.
Well,
when I go to Blog Talk on the main screen, nothing's activated, nothing's playing, nothing's open. Can't even hear you, nothing. That's why I was trying to let you know. I could call in, but nobody's going to hear me.
Well, son of a... And I had that set up, too. Dad, burn it.
Well...
Now, Roger's there. All right, now here it is. I'm going to come back to the flash.
People are here.
Someone just came in. I'm connecting. Skin, load, flash. 2 users. And guest 1533. Who's that?
1533.
I don't know. You got to...
I don't see a 1533.
I do.
Okay, well, you're seeing things I'm not. I've got 1580. I've got 1404, 5943, 3828, and 7240.
Yeah, I don't see it broadcasting again. So I don't even know if anybody, any listeners, can hear us.
There's the chat.
Okay, it says on air, and then above that it says stream left.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Killer Joe.
Yeah, it's not
Roger,
playing.
can you hear me?
What?
Hello?
Who's down there?
This is Mishka.
Oh, Misha.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Okay.
Hey, Mishka, Pam's on here.
Pam's on here, Mishka's on here.
Hi, Pam.
Lord Rick is
Hey,
here.
Mishka. I'm sitting in my car at a laundromat.
Oh.
Okay, Rick. Everything
Well,
you
you
were
read
doing
the
like it did on the last show that we done when Hank was on here, and I don't know what you're seeing where it says it's not broadcasting or whatever, but everybody that's here can hear everybody that's here.
Yeah,
Everybody that can call in can hear each other. Everybody that can call in can hear it, but you don't have any live listeners because the chat room is not running proper. Like I've used Blog Talk tons of times, and it's not broadcasting right now. So it's just us talking amongst each other, and that's not going to be good if you got listeners who want to tune in.
Yeah, it's just like a conference call almost. It's not going out to everybody. It's just us.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Right now, baby.
Oh, boy.
Okay, the chat room window is open now, and...
Okay, another user has logged in using this account. You are disconnected.
Yeah, I couldn't sign in at all this time.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know what's going on, folks.
Oh, well, we'll keep trying.
Yeah.
Trying, that's for sure.
Maybe you got to call in. I don't know.
I couldn't get anything on the computer, but I can call. When I called in, I could hear you.
Yeah.
Y'all see why Roger's my tech guy instead of me? I'm watching Green Acres and listening, so.
Oh, God.
Okay.
I was a kid. I remember watching that.
Rick, I don't know what's up, buddy.
Well,
okay.
I guess.
What do we want to...
So, have you been talking about anything, or just trying to figure out this radio thing?
Well, Rick just got here a couple of minutes ago. He's saying we're not broadcasting live, so I don't know what's up.
I think because you didn't. I don't know if because you didn't schedule the thing. That's why it's not broadcasting. Because it says Friday the 25th at 3:30 Pacific time, and I think you have to schedule ahead of time with Blog Talk to work.
Okay, well, I scheduled this episode back last week.
Yeah. We've been keeping track of that.
And I've been advertising it all week, so, I don't see what the problem would have been.
I don't know. It should be broadcast, and something's up.
Right.
Can't tell you what, but something is.
You know, I mean, I'm in the control panel here now. I can see who's here and well, not who's here,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what we'll do is I'll just put you on speakerphone, and you can do the interview, and I'll record it. And then I'll just put it on my YouTube, and you can advertise it or whatever, because I'm not going to waste a good opportunity to talk about the paranormal.
No,
you know what I'm saying? No. But got to figure a way around this, because it's not going to broadcast. I don't know why. Maybe it's a problem with Blog Talk at the moment, but we can go ahead and try what you plan,
and then we'll do a Q&A after that.
It will record what we're doing, so I'll have a recording of it.
So let him go ahead and get that, and then we'll do a Q&A after that.
So you just jump in there, Rick, and do your thing, and maybe later on toward the end of this thing, you know, if anybody wants to ask questions or whatever, they can do that. And if Hank has no problem with that, we'll just let you take it and do your thing.
Whatever you want to do, Roger. You're the captain of this ship.
Take over.
Well, the floor is yours, buddy.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, I'm losing people.
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay, waiting on Rick. Take off and do your thing there, buddy. It's all yours.
Well, if you want to ask me questions, you can ask me questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to talk. If you want me to just talk, that's fine, too.
Go for it, Rick.
I can talk about what happened a couple weeks ago, if that's all right. So it's up to you what you want to do, or if you want to have people just ask me questions, I can answer questions. It doesn't really matter to me.
What happened a couple of weeks ago? Was that in Virginia City?
No, I went to Virginia City to go party. I went elsewhere. I did, honestly, because I rewarded it to my investigator, because one of our investigators, well, she's not really an investigator, she's a member, and she's been following our group for about a year and a half and really liked the adventures and the work we were putting out. So she said, you know what, I'll fly to you, we'll rent a Jeep or whatever, and we'll go, you can take me to some places. I said, fair enough. And so about a week and a half ago, it was the 17th through the 20th of April, we had decided to do a 4-trip. And these are major investigations, because I don't always go out paranormal investigating for 4 days. But I do go out sometimes, and I'll camp for 3 days and look for Bigfoot, or Virginia City is just a day trip, because when you go to Virginia City, not only do you got to investigate, but you got to go to all the breweries and pubs, and you have to experience Virginia City full. You got to eat dinner there and go see some entertainment and things like that. But we spent Tuesday. It was a Tuesday. We went to Donner Lake Railroad Tunnels and in the ghost town of Dutch Flat, where there's a couple cemeteries. And because I wanted to start her off slow, because up here I live at 5,000 feet. But when we go investigating, we can get as high as over 11,000 feet on some of our investigations. And a lot of people get elevation sickness. So what I did is I took her out to, the first day was we spent in this ghost town. And, they have two old cemeteries, one's Dutch, one's Chinese. The Chinese one sits in the cemetery, or sits in the wood, and it's extremely overgrown, it's neglected, But we went there, and you'd be surprised that when you walk to these ghost towns, or these semi-ghost towns, because they're all over the West, up in the Sierra Mountains in Nevada, a lot of them have good ghost tales, good ghost stories. And so I'm able to walk around any given semi-ghost town, which semi-ghost towns mean that there are historical and abandoned sites, both, some preserved, some non-preserved. But we went there, and I had about a store owner, two different store business owners had told me some ghost stories about the inn, about some of the haunted buildings. We seen an old hearse wagon. So I started Sue off, her name's Sue. I started her off really easy. I didn't just jump on in. I wanted her to do a couple cemeteries, and then I gave her a little bit of a challenge because at night, about 3 hours before sundown, we went to a place called the Donner Lake Railroad Tunnels. And Donner Lake is an area that back in the 1800s, when the party was crossing the Sierras, they had gotten stuck in the pass because it started snowing in October. And they ended up being cannibals and eating one another, but they ate their deceased. They didn't eat live people. And they also ate their horses and their dogs and their shoe leather and all these other things, and they nearly half of them froze to death, you know. So Donner Lake is real haunted, but above Donner Lake is a secret. It's a place where there's about 8 train tunnels, and one of the train tunnels, about 300 Chinamen had died. The Chinese were very predominant in that area, just like Dutch Flat. There's a cemetery, like I said, all Chinese in the wood. And the entire ghost town had burnt down, at least the Chinese part of it. So these same workers that are found in the cemetery built those railroad tunnels. And we went up to the railroad tunnels, and like some of them are almost a half mile long. They go right into Donner Summit, which overlooks Donner Lake, where the Donner Party is, but or was, or where they died or ate one another. So we're hiking through the tunnels. We get through I'd say about 5 tunnels I got through, and there's an old China wall, and not too far from the China wall, I found a strange impression. It wasn't a bear, it wasn't a coyote or a mountain lion or anything like that. We look in our work. We look for a lot of toe impressions because it's the toes you want to definitely find when you're Bigfoot tracking. But I found 2 tracks. I found one going through the tunnels, and then I found a second track on my way back just before it got dark, and that was a fresh one. And one of the tracks looked like a giant handprint. We have, us as Homo sapiens, we have very slender fingers, Our thumb is our biggest finger, or if you want to call it a finger, I don't know. But this is it was like 4 or 5 thumbnails all together. Looked like a massive fingers, and one of them was toe impressions I found. And see, up by the railroad tunnels, people don't realize this on the East Coast, but when you go up into the mountains here, you can have snow up in those mountains till July. So when we went to Donner Lake, there was places between each tunnel on the side of the mountain that are 2 feet deep. You slip in that snow, you go off the cliff. It's game over. So we had to be really careful trekking through the snow and the ice. But that's the best time to look for Sasquatch, because when you go up into the woods like that, you want mud. You want to track this creature, to track it down, basically. So our first day was really good. Our second day, I took her out to a place called Grantsville. Grantsville is a ghost town. It's by Berlin and Ione. Sits in the center of Nevada. And if you've ever been in Nevada, you know this is the most mountainous state. This state, you can go on wagon roads for 100 miles and not see civilization out here. It is one of the last frontiers. And I'm not from Nevada, but my heart is a true Nevadan. I like mountains. I like cliffs. I like cliff climbing. I like going in mines and tunnels. So Grantsville was just a big playground for the Lord, because I went to Grantsville, and that's a very well-preserved ghost town, but it's very secluded. If you get bit by a snake, a scorpion, whatever you get bit by, it could kill you out there. And people don't realize that the work we do is very dangerous, because when you start working with places in the middle of nowhere, there are so many risks involved. You deal with people sometimes with guns, you deal with tarantulas, you deal with snakes trying to bite you. It's just, you inch along a cliff to get up to some mine, and your mine's up near a cliff. You got to worry about falling off the cliff. So I took Sue there. Great preserved ghost town, a lot of walls, a lot of stuff, and my kids and I were looking around up behind. They have these ore chutes in this mill, and we look behind, kind of in the corner, and I found a mine. And I went in the mine. I made sure my kids in Sioux didn't go in. Not a lot of oxygen. Not a lot of oxygen in the mines. You could die. There could be a chamber in a mine where there's no air and it sucks the air out of your lungs and you die instantly. But I went into this mine, and I must have spent about 45 minutes in there, and I didn't think much of it because you lose track of time when you're in a mine because you go in, you're underground, and all you concentrate on are the shafts, if you're going to fall down a hole. And the thing was, this mine that's in Grantsville is so huge, I didn't see it all. I went in, I spent 45 minutes taking tunnels and turnoffs, and it is so easy to get lost because when you go in one room, it branches to 3 rooms, and then those tunnels branch 3 different ways, and it branches out inside the mountain. And there was some shafts, there was some big rooms the size of my living room, maybe my house, and so I'm in this tunnel by myself, and I'm very deep in, and I see this, what looked like a drawing of a demon on the mine wall. It wasn't. It turned out to be something natural. The rock was stained by water. But I sat there and thought, man, because when I went past that, I came to this room, a really spooky room. The deeper you go in this place, the more foreboding it gets. And I go all the way back there. I'm thinking, is the air going to get sucked out of my lungs? Is this worth the chance? Is this worth the paranormal? Yeah, it is. If I die, I die. But I go back there, and I feel something like practically touching me, It's like right on my shoulder. And that's the thing about mines, that a lot of people in the occult will go to mines and they will do rituals, they will do sacrifices, and they'll do evil things, and that energy can carry over. And you can go in a mine and you're going to see entities, you're going to see ghosts, you're going to get EVPs, you're going to get EMF. But, I came out of the mine, and I thought the mine was a highlight of Grantsville. Yeah, the rest of the exploration was great, bada bing, bada boom. A lot of history there, but the mine is the meat of the paranormal in any of these ghost towns. That's where the ghosts are. The miners would die trying to mine these mines. It wasn't a pretty sight. Sometimes 20 miners would fall at once. The rope would break. All of them would go down a 300, 400, 500, 1,000-foot shaft. It was very dangerous. So when I go in these mines, I always have to be aware, because if you don't look where you're stepping, you can fall down a hole that's 1,000 feet deep, and you are not going to survive it. So there was ladders going on. Sue did get the whole ghost town experience because I wanted to show people, and through her, so she can, because our paranormal organization's all word of mouth, Over the years, some people have been following us 13, 14 years almost, and they tell their friends. And that's what it was, is her friend told us about our society, so she came out to do it. And the first 2 days were nothing, But when you go out, the thing was, I was in the middle of moving, and I turned around and I left moving, and I went to cleaning my old place up, to getting up, like sun up every friggin' morning and driving 200, 300, 400 miles in one day. That's what I was doing. I was getting up at like 5:30 in the morning, and 6 o'clock we were leaving, 7 o'clock, and I would be on the road for 3 hours, But I turned around the third day. That's when I started really getting tired. But I will say that the third day was awesome because we went to another ghost town. This is my second investigation here. My first investigation, something threw a piece of wood at my truck. It's called Star Canyon. Middle of the Nevada desert, high desert, but when you go in the mountains, there is national forest in parts of Nevada. So I always thought to myself, it's possible Bigfoot could be up in this region of Nevada, only because it has, the Shoshone Mountains do have forest. And we went up in the Star Canyon, and there's, foundations within the canyon where the town used to be. This is a town of like 1,000 people. They had saloons, a church, a school, this, that, and all that's left is stone foundations. But we went up the canyon, and you start going up to Thunder Mountain and Star Peak, so the road becomes real rugged, plus it's a mining road. And I said, my second time coming up here, I'm going to do a mine, which is the Sheba mine, which sits in the back end of Star City. So we went to the Sheba mine, and this time I was able to take Sue and my kids into the mine. And we went into the mine, went all the way back, took a couple tunnels, and I said, give me a sign that you're here if you're here with me, I mean, I don't bullshit, I don't play games. When I go investigating and I talk to ghosts or entities, I'm pretty blunt at what I want them to do. And we heard like this moan or this groan. It was hard to explain. It was almost like a man that said something to us inside the mine. Sue heard it. I heard it. My kids heard it. But my kids are less, they really don't care about ghosts very much, so it doesn't matter to them. It's like, oh, this is nothing new. We're always going in, haunted places. But something replied to me in that mine. And we had roamed the entire Sheba mine. Now, I almost made it to the Sheba last year ago, but I had gotten too flats. I got stuck in snow, and I turned around, and on my way out, something threw the wood. This time around, we had ghost activity within the mine. And so our second investigation, we found foundations and all sorts of things. And it's going to, all these places I'm talking about, they'll all be on our site eventually. I'll have pictures, video, audio, evidence. I will have history. I'll have everything on these places, because when we do a project, we don't just throw a couple photos up and say, there it is. I mean, we put work into of what we do. We cover nature. I mean, we see nature, so we film it, we photograph it, just like National Geographic. Paranormal evidence, history, reports, scenic photos. We go all out, because a lot of the places I do, it's God's country, I mean, it's very beautiful, very scenic. There's a lot of butterflies, flowers, animals, and there's also a lot of paranormal, too, if you go seek it out. And that's the problem we have nowadays. A lot of paranormal groups, they're not gonna go all out. If you cannot risk your life, if you cannot say I'll die for the paranormal, you shouldn't be in this field, because you may have to die to get to the truth. If you want to find underground aliens, you may just walk into an underground alien cavern, and it's 50-50. You're either going to make it out or you're going to die and be eaten. If you're eaten, you're eaten. That's what you signed up to do. But our last day was our grand finale. See, I went to Virginia City after all this because I wanted to reward Sue. I wanted her to have the whole, go up there, drink different brews, have a good time. But I always get my work done before I party, And so our last day, I took her up into the High Sierras. See, she's never been in the High Sierras. I took her, Donner Lake is lower Sierras. They only get to about 8,000 feet, but the higher Sierras get to 11,000, 12,000 feet. And so we went to a place called Showers Lake, and you got to climb up to Red Peak almost, over two high ridges and into this basin. It's a lake basin, so there's like meadows, there's creeks, there's rivers, there's lakes, and it's all surrounded 360 degrees by cliffs and mountains. It's also Bigfoot country. And when we went up there, I didn't know what to expect, but we had gotten a snow a couple of weeks ago in the mountains that was 5 feet deep. So when we got there, the snow and
You're going to have to try to wrap it up here soon, because it's going to cut us off.
Okay, well, how many minutes do I have?
I don't know, because the time already ran out, and it'll run so far past that, but then it'll just cut you off in mid-sentence if you ain't careful.
Okay, well, we went up to Showers Lake, and there was about 8 feet of snow, and we hiked 5 miles in, and we get to the Showers Lake. We're about a half mile in, and we hear something banging on the trees. And then all of a sudden from the north, the banging gets closer and closer. Then from the east, which was to my right, there was more banging, and then to the south. We were surrounded on 3 sides to 4 sides of something banging on trees doing odd vocalizations about 150 to 200 feet. I couldn't see it, because they were all hiding behind the trees. We couldn't see it. And I'm telling you, talk about a terrifying Bigfoot experience. Not only did we find prints back in this area, but we also were surrounded on 3 sides with the lake. The ice is real weak on the lake, so we had the lakes to our left, which was the west. and we just stood still because we could hear growls and groans and moans and vocalizations, and we knew we were close. Sue stayed behind. She couldn't make it over the high Sierras. You have to climb over the mountain to get back here, and the snow was just killing her. And I told her, I said, you'll have a greater respect for what we do because the air is thin, and we had hiked 5 miles in the snow. I mean, I'm a mountain man. There's no doubt about that. But the Bigfoot, you know, that's why we do the high Sierras, because we've got a healthy Bigfoot population. So I'd like to talk about it more, but if you're almost out of time, I probably should take some questions, huh?
Yeah, do that real quick,
and then
if you want to come back next week and finish up, that's fine.
Oh, it doesn't matter to me. You know, I'll call in anytime. I mean, I call in all kinds of shows, but you know, our group.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider Bigfoot paranormal?
Anything unknown is paranormal until it becomes known. That's the thing. Bigfoot, the thing about Bigfoot is everybody argues and says, oh, it's probably the missing link or Gigantopithecus or one of these other ancient creatures. But the other thing about it is a lot of UFO activity is related to Bigfoot. Like people will see UFOs and then maybe 20 minutes later they will see 1 or 2, 3, 4 Bigfoot creatures in the woods. So we could say it's alien, and if it's alien, it is paranormal. We don't know what it is. It's the unknown. It's totally unknown. Until we can classify it and scientifically get DNA, it remains, one of the most elusive, unknown creatures known to man. And, of course, I've seen them, so I know they're real, but I get a lot of good impressions, and that's, something's got to be leaving them in the wilderness, especially when you're hiking through 8 feet of snow and there's not a human back there for miles. But, I hope that answers a little bit of your question.
Yeah, I
Can you hear
wanted
me?
your opinion on that. I'm very familiar with the area. I'm from California.
Hello?
And so I'm very familiar with the area that you were in. I did a lot of backpacking back there. And I'm familiar with the tunnels that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But I experienced more with the Chinese cemeteries and their walls.
Well, the wall's at the tunnels, but the Chinese cemetery is in Dutch Flat, which is just further into the foothills and not Donner Lake area. But those Chinese immigrants died when they were dynamiting the tunnels.
Right.
Their ghosts do haunt those tunnels. Those tunnels had some activity. Not a lot,
yes.
but there was some paranormal activity there. And that's why I did it.
But on the very far side of the tunnels, up further, there's a rock wall. Are you familiar with the rock wall? It's like thousands of rock made out of the wall.
Yeah, that's the Great Wall is made of rock, and it's about 20 feet high and about 4 feet thick, maybe 5 feet thick.
Yeah.
That they say that's part of a Great Wall they built, and I don't know why they built it.
They built that wall, but I think that's part of their cemetery.
There's a dog barking.
I know. I hear a dog barking. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't hear nothing.
I can't either.
I'm sorry, y'all. My
that
phone
rock
heard
wall
something acting like
very, very active. If you ever go back to that wall and sit there real quiet, and things will be coming at you.
I'd believe it. I found some strange tracks up by the tunnels. I know they're not human, and I know they're not an animal. So what could they be? It's just it's very remote back there. A lot of people don't realize how remote, especially this time of year. A lot of snow up there. There is nobody there.
Yeah.
So, ghost activity, Bigfoot, all those things, I believe, are in that area. I actually hung out on the new train tunnel. I hung my legs over the edge and sat up there, for a little while. It's nice. It's very nice. I'm glad someone knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It is nice. Very serene up there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never gone.
I would believe that that place has.
I never went when there was snow. I always went in the summertime.
Yeah. Well, we do a lot of investigations in the snow. It might be like 80 degrees out, but there's still 3 to 8 feet of snow in the high Sierras. So we just grin and bear it, and we do what we got to do, and just be like, oh well, you know. I mean, we find tracks in the snow all the time. That's why I love the snow. But the summer's nice too when it's all gone, because then you can start tracking in the mud, and we get a lot of prints in the mud too. So it's, you know, it just depends.
Yeah.
Depends where you're at.
Summertime is great because then you can stay out there. We just backpack out there and just spend a couple of nights out there. It's pretty wild. It's crazy.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
but it was nice to meet you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll probably call in next week if Roger wants me to talk more about the paranormal. I could always talk about things. If we do so much work, it's unbelievable.
If you want to come back next Friday and carry on, that's fine with us. We'll just keep going until you get done.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I'd like to hear more about the Donner.
Yeah, right? So that's good.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. And also, y'all, I have a chat room through Blog Talk, where we can carry on conversation if you guys want to hear more. It won't be a live recording, but, you know, if you guys just want to talk some more about it and everything, I can load that chat room up and we can all get in there and just keep things going.
Well, you guys.
Yeah, you have the whole vocal thing going on, vocal or whatever.
No, this is through Blog Talk, and it's you can do it. I believe audio or just chat, either one, text chat. I found out I had that today. I didn't know I had it.
Yeah. Huh. I don't know. I know that in the chat room it's not opening for me, so, but if you're recording this, just send me a copy. I'll put it on YouTube, and I can get it out to 20,000 people at least. Now, whether 20,000 will listen to it, I don't know, but you know, I'm always share with people, and if they want to listen to them, they'll learn. If they don't want to listen and learn, that's up to them. But I know that Bigfoot's real. I've seen it. I've tracked it many times backpacking. I'm a good tracker. I tracked Sue. She went back to the vehicle in the mountains, and we tracked her back to the road into the vehicle. I mean, we can track you. You're not going to run from me. I'm like Michael Myers coming, you know. But I mean, seriously, what we do is we have to know how to, you know, function outdoors. It doesn't matter if it's cold, snow, and whatever. The only bad thing about Showers Lake was when I went, the snow was okay. I've lost feeling in a couple of my toes. But one thing that really bothered me the most is that there was these avalanche zones everywhere in the canyon and on some of the high cliffs near us. And I just tried to go around and meander around them all because people die in avalanches all the time up there. And Yeah, I mean, I had to go around them because I know where they're at. See, and that was the thing I was worried about. Sue, she didn't go in far enough to worry about it, but we went into some narrow areas, and you could see where the snow was built up and just hanging by a thread. And I'm thinking, you know, if we're too loud, we shout, we're going to cause an avalanche. We're going to die here. So I had to, in addition to looking for Bigfoot, I had to also be cautious and safe and very meticulous because heading back to the vehicle was a nightmare. The sun came out, the snow was warming, it was just, a storm came in. I mean, there was like 50-mile-an-hour winds, dark clouds, it was snowing up there, raining. It was bad. And those avalanche zones could have gave away. I could have not made it a couple weeks ago. I'm here, but it could have happened, and we would have been in deep trouble. Even though I stay away from them, that doesn't mean they still won't get you. They can still travel a half mile down the canyon and just keep going and going. So we were a little nervous about the avalanches. But, you know, like I say, that's the risk we take. When we go out there to investigate, there's always going to be some risk involved. And you just have to sometimes do it. It doesn't matter. I don't care what others think. At least people can say one thing when I die. They can say he's dedicated to his research. He loves the paranormal. Because people who don't risk themselves, they only care about fame and fortune and not having to work for it. And we have to work at everything we do. We work hard at it. Nothing gets handed to me. I have to spend miles hiking just to find one track. And that's fine. It is what it is. But it's still dangerous, and people need to be very well aware. I almost flipped the truck in Star City because we went up this mining road, and it was so rough, and I had to come back down the mining road. Branches are scraping the sides of the rental vehicle. It's so tight. I'm climbing boulders on the way down, and there's a cliff next to me, and the truck almost rolled. I had it on 2 wheels. It went on 2 wheels.
And poor Sue, she was holding on tight, screaming at me. She was swearing and crying at the same time because the Xterra, the Nissan Xterra, was on 2 wheels. And the thing is that when I pulled it close to the bank of the mountain to keep it from, if it rolled, to keep it from going down into the wash where the creek was or cliff, it was just straight drop off, and it goes, we would roll probably 5-6 times. But I understand, people are scared and they don't realize that it's just as dangerous to investigate these places as it is to travel to these locations. And, you have to understand that with reward comes great risk. And I have been off-roading for many years, and it's a skill you acquire by doing it. It's not something I can teach, but it is something that's very important, that we have to be sure that we're okay off-roading 50, 60 miles down a dirt road in the middle of nowhere, and you have to make sure you don't roll it, because if you get stranded, you could die out there. So we were coming down this old mining road. A lot of mining roads are very rugged, lots of boulders, rocks, or straight edge drop off. And the first time I had it on 3 wheels, I backed it up and put it in 4-wheel drive, took it nice and slow, got it back on its wheels. But the second time, it was on 2 wheels, and it was teetering to the side and to the left, and it ended up going right back on 2 wheels. And when it fell down, I continued to record, and I ended up going back down into Star Canyon. But it was a real hairy situation. And again, this is just some of the dangers that we have to put up with or deal with on investigations. You cannot get back to certain remote places unless you're willing to either A, journey on foot or hike, or B, off-road to such locations. The problem is that vehicles are not 100% damage-proof or foolproof. You can get flat, you can roll, you can get stuck in the harsh terrain on some rocks or mud or snow. And I was filming, and I know Sue in one day got to experience a little bit of everything in the Wild West, all the way from drinking to hiking to seeing ghost towns to dying all in the same day, And that's basically what happened is, if we would have rolled it, who knows what would have happened. It's very dangerous. I kept driving and driving because if I would have stopped, the truck probably would have rolled. But I kept going, and the momentum of the vehicle, it grappled the rocks and pulled me onto the canyon road and not over the edge. And, some people, they think we're going to roll or we're going to get hurt a lot of times because things are dangerous, and you got to remain calm, cool, and collective. And because I remained calm and cool, we got out of the canyon in one piece, luckily. But I can't say anything about the Nissan Xterra. It's a damn good vehicle. It saved my life. Sue rented a really great vehicle. The only difference is that we are just in a sticky situation. And it's a good thing that the rental was insured, because it became all scratched up because the road was so narrow in some spots that the woods and the brush were rubbing against the sides, while other parts just dropped off along the Star Canyon Creek. And, it's a rough road to the mine, and it's a rough road down from the mine, a good half mile of extreme off-roading, and you can fall, you can die. or get injured or get stranded. And we managed to get out of Star Canyon, and it felt good to get home in time for dinner and still experience the paranormal. And Sue said to me, well, it was worth it, and some things are worth dying for. So anyways, check us out before the show cuts off at www.paranormalghostsociety.org. And you can see more of our work in the investigation archives, including these cases, which I will be adding next month to our website. And you can see video footage of the off-roading and the emotions and all these creepy things that we encountered in dangerous situations. I think you'll have greater respect for the commitment and the hard work, along with the passion we have for the unknown and the paranormal. And any day in the Wild West where you can live, die, have a good time, see some strange things, experience history, all those things at once, is a damn fine day in my book as far as paranormal investigating goes. Anyways, this is Lord Rick. Peace.